Breaking news out of Charlotte. After 9 tense days in court, NASCAR has officially settled its year-long antitrust lawsuit with Michael Jordan's 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports. The result? A seismic shift in the sports business model. Charters are now permanent. Be sure to stick around to the end as we have a good inside clip for you. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and share to help us grow. For years, NASCAR teams operated under renewable charters, 7-year licenses tied to meteorite cycles. Teams argued this left them vulnerable, with NASCAR holding all the power. In September 2024, NASCAR offered a new 112-page charter deal, but Jordan's 2311 and Front Row refused to sign, calling it monopolistic. They raced unchartered through 2025, risking financial collapse, before filing suit. On December 11, 2025, the lawsuit ended in a landmark settlement. The agreed-upon changes include evergreen charters. All 36 Cup Series charters are now permanent, guaranteeing race entry and revenue forever. Revenue sharing adjustments. While financial details remain sealed, teams will receive a more equitable distribution of NASCAR's income streams. Unified growth commitment. NASCAR and teams pledge to collaborate on long-term stability and competitive balance. Financial compensation. Damages were estimated at $300 million, but exact settlement figures remain confidential. Michael Jordan declared, "This lawsuit was about progress, with a foundation to build equity and invest in the future. We now have the chance to grow together." Denny Hamlin added, "Racing is all I've ever known. That's why we were willing to shoulder the challenges that came with taking the stand." Judge Kenneth Bell praised the deal as great for NASCAR, great for the teams, and ultimately great for the fans. Impact breakdown. Teams. Permanent equity. Franchise-level valuations projected at $150 million plus. Drivers. Contract stability and stronger sponsorship leverage. Fans. Assurance that top teams remain competitive and present in every race. NASCAR avoided a $300 million damages verdict while preserving governance, but conceded permanence of charters. This settlement marks a turning point in NASCAR history. With permanent charters, teams now own forever franchises, guaranteed entry, stable revenue, and tradable equity. Michael Jordan's push for fairness has reshaped the sport's future.
NASCAR is never going to be the same after this settlement, and there are still a lot of questions that don't have answers yet, and that's why we brought in an around-the-track regular to spell it all out. Earlier today, The Athletic's Jordan Bianchi spoke with Queen City News' Morgan Francis on what happens next.
Let's break this down more. Joining us now is Jordan Bianchi, motorsports reporter for The Athletic. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us to talk through all of this. So what do we know about the terms of this settlement?
Well, first and foremost, there's guaranteed charters for all of NASCAR teams, which are a huge thing. And it's a historic step for NASCAR as the teams get this, because it assures them guaranteed revenue streams. It guarantees them that they're going to have them and they can't be taken away. And that was a huge contentious point among teams and NASCAR, really for the last 2-3 years as they fought this charter agreement. And this is really the pillar of why these teams, 2311 and Front Row, ended up in federal court suing NASCAR.
This settlement happened right in the middle of the trial. The plaintiffs had just said that they called all their witnesses. So on the NASCAR side of things, do you think this was about them trying to save some face here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, sometimes you got to cut your losses, right? And in this case, they looked at the situation and it was, what are we doing here? Can we win this case? And the plaintiffs had laid out a very strong case, documenting how NASCAR had maybe exercised some anti-competitive measures that really kind of put these teams in a box and what they could do economically and in a capitalistic market. And so there really wasn't a path forward for NASCAR. Maybe you get lucky, maybe you get a juror who's going to vote for you or back in the room or something. But at the end of the day, that was just looking less and less likely. And at the halfway point of this case, because the plaintiffs rested yesterday, NASCAR had an opportunity to kind of assess their case. They looked at it, and the best path forward for everybody was to reach a settlement.
What really shocked me is listening to the teams talk about how much money they were losing.
Yes.
So in this deal, Is that going to change the valuation of teams moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the teams will have said throughout this process, ever since they've gotten charters, 10 years ago, that if you give us permanent charters, that gives us guaranteed revenue streams that you can't take away, and then we can put it on the marketplace, and we know that sponsors and other business partners are going to want to know that this is here and secure, and they're going to want to invest with us, which is then going to skyrocket the value of the franchise, basically a franchise, right? And if you look at other sports, franchise values are skyrocketing right now, except really in NASCAR, where they're going up, but not nearly to the degree that they are in other sports. So the expectation is NASCAR now will be like other professional sports, where those values for those franchises will go through the roof.
Well, and some of the sponsors, even Bass Pro Shops, issued a letter while the trial was going on, kind of expressing their displeasure with some of the things that had come out. So, they have a lot of weight in this situation too. Let's talk about the charter agreement. So they announced this evergreen charter. What does that mean, and what does that look like? Well,
basically, it's a franchise compared to other sports, and it assures charter teams, and there's 36 charters, entry into every single Cup Series points race. So they know they're going to start the Daytona 500, for example, and that's a huge monetary gain. Plus, there's other performance bonuses and stuff that goes along with owning a charter, and it's just know what you're going to make year to year, at least on the floor level, which helps you plan your businesses as these teams try to move forward and kind of reshape the business model. So what does revenue sharing look like? Yeah, that's a good question. And so the teams are going to get additional money and everything from NASCAR. Part of the terms of 23-11 and front row negotiated is the teams are going to get additional revenue from the league, from international media rights. They're going to get a percentage of that, plus new media deals from the IP. And so they're going to get more money. It's an influx of money. Now it's up to the teams to reinvest that money smartly. And NASCAR's contention has always been the teams just can't spend. They've got to be smart about how they spend and do it judiciously. So, Jordan, you've been covering NASCAR for a while. What does it now look like? Has it totally changed the landscape? I mean, NASCAR's really suffered a PR blow the last few weeks, especially. You talked about that letter last night. That indicated it a lot. Really, NASCAR's got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of fans that have really kind of lost trust in the sport, the leadership right now. It's suffered a black eye. This black cloud that's been hanging over the sport for the last year or so, this lawsuit, it's been bad. The sponsors are reluctant to enter the sport. Everybody's talking about it. Why is Michael Jordan suing NASCAR? What's the future of this sport? There's some work to do now to rebuild the trust and the belief and the confidence that NASCAR leadership is doing the right thing and guiding this sport forward. And really quick, what is the biggest question that you still have with all of this that has happened? It goes back to what I just said. How does NASCAR move past this and regain the trust of its fan base? Okay, Jordan and Bianchi, thank you so much from The Athletic. Really appreciate it.
Welcome to the Inner Circle. This isn't just a membership. It's a mission. You're supporting forensic truth, mythic blends, and ceremonial broadcasts that honor every moment. Members unlock exclusive enhancements, behind-the-scenes alerts, and direct access to the pulse of Scape news and leading sponsor, Gold Rush Fever Specialty Coffee. Join us and help shape the signal. We thank you, and as always, stay safe. That's the latest from Scape news. We're live. We're watching. We thank you. Subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell so you don't miss what breaks next. Stay with us. We appreciate you. And as always, be safe.